Let's just cut straight to the facts here. Guys, when I was researching NEAR protocol the other day, I was blown away at how this protocol is looking to advance in the future. It's doing something that hasn't been done in crypto before, and it's kind of beating that one phrase we've heard time and time again, and that is mass adoption. That's what's primarily focused and wanting to overcome. So in today's video, I'm going to show you why the doors have now opened to make this a possibility, and why I'm just simply blown away with NEAR protocol. Ultimately, guys, I'm buying more. The price right now, by the way, is actually at a good buying level, but we're not going to talk about that today. But look, I know what some of you are thinking, okay, because I've seen it multiple times on different videos, and it's like, why would I even want to bother with NEAR protocol in the first place, right? It's just another layer one. There's so many out there. Now, let me refer to something that I coined called the 𝗡cie, right? The 𝗡cie test. WebAssembly, right? Infinitely scalable, instant finality, interoperable, and EVM compatible. Now, this is the standard amongst other layer one networks right now. And so when this is some good advice, I guess, are looking at a new layer one project, take a look at the 𝗡cie method. Does it have these, right? And you can weight these 20% each. And if it doesn't stack up to at least 60%, unless it's actively working on those things, it might not be a good investment, okay? So yes, the 𝗡cie method is a good way to look at the layer one network itself and go, is it up to standards? And well, to cut a long story short, NEAR protocol is. But again, it's just another layer one network in this case. What could possibly be so good, you might be asking? Well, NEAR's on the move. And again, there's been a massive gateway opened up for NEAR here that I want to break down today. But before I break it down, I want to show you guys something I think is critically important, and especially important for you, because you can take this away right now, this very screen behind me, and apply it to your research methods as well. Let me explain, right? This is Web3 layer one networks, not networks like 𝗡cie, Algorand, and things like that are focusing on enterprise grade stuff as well. This is, mostly just specifically Web3 based projects, okay? So we've got the Web3 general purpose in the middle, and we've got privacy, all that metaverse, gaming, NFTs, and things like that. We have the interoperability over here, and then the, IoT/Oracle, okay? Now, ideally, I wish these bands could have been more connected over here because we could have added a few more projects, but nevertheless, this does a pretty good job of representing kind of what I'm talking about here, right? So in the very center, just general purpose networks. Ones that don't really niche into one specific side or are focusing on one side. Now, might I say, some of these projects are a lot of my subjective view of where they're taking things, so I want to say that for the record. But as you can see, the three in the middle that are heavily general purpose, NEAR protocol, Ethereum, and Cardano. Okay, and so this is going to be, again, what kind of laps into that open gateway I'm going to talk about in just a minute. But as you can see over here, privacy, strictly Monero, sort of the metaverse, again, NFTs, gaming, but that's the primary vision here of Multiverse X. So they're heavily in this corner. But ultimately, what happens when you start overlapping, right? Well, you open yourselves up to more markets, okay? The more the kind of this way you go, and let me just flick over the slide here. The more out you go here, niche, it's easier to absorb the market demand, excluding monopolies like Chainlink, for example. That's going to be a hard guy to compete with. But the less niche, right, the more in the center you go, right, the harder it is to absorb, but the larger the market opportunity, right? So what I'm trying to say here, just like anything, the more out you go, the more niche into a subject you get. If I only focused on crypto NFTs for my channel, yes, I can penetrate the market and get a lot of subscribers, but there's going to be a ceiling there. If I focus on crypto videos and crypto knowledge as a general topic, it's going to take a lot longer to get above the noise, above the other competitors, but once I break through, sky's the limit sort of thing. So this is a good little comparison we can take here, and this can actually help, again, with your researching of altcoins, because, again, you can look at a project like Ren that was all the way over here, for example, right? And that's focusing on the interoperability, right? Moonbeam, again, it's the same sort of thing, but it's more general purpose, right? So again, broader market, takes a longer time to get seen. So hopefully you guys are sort of following here, and I'm going to cycle through this in a second, because I'd like to briefly interrupt and just say, if you are liking the video so far, if I am providing you value, to please take the time to just quickly like the video. And also, if you really do enjoy what I say and my content in general, please hit the subscribe button. I post a video every single day, and there is 2 videos a day coming very soon. Thank you so much. Back to the video. We need to look at the competition, right? NEAR's direct competition. Now, of course, there are other layer 1 networks, strictly general purpose out there, but I feel like these are its biggest competitors right now. It's like the next hurdle. Now, of course, you can say Avalanche is, Solana is, so on and so forth, of course. But again, I think this is more the end goal. This is like the ultimate goal here. And again, some of those rankings before were a little bit subjective, at least because I've got to kind of place a vision on that project, right? Based on what's happening right now. But the market cap of these projects is amazing, right? NEAR is by far the lowest by orders of magnitudes, right? 1.1 billion opposed to 9.1 and 207 billion for Ethereum. Now, again, we're going to do the test, the WE test, right? WebAssembly and so on and so forth, and then finish up with connections here. But as you can see, NEAR protocol seems to be beating these, well, all of these two, both of these projects rather, on every level, right? So these two are WebAssembly, right? Infinitely scalable, yes, yes, no, because, again, we're going to cycle back to this because this is part of the reason why I think NEAR has less competition now, thanks to Ethereum's recent decision to get rid of chain sharding, right? Instant finality. Well, none of these guys have so-called instant finality. A lot of blockchains really don't, but technically 2 seconds is pretty close to instant. So 2 seconds, 12 hours. Now, I want to say that's for, proper finality. That's for absolute finality. You can obviously take a transaction on Cardano and it can be a lot less than that. I think it's about 5 or 6 blocks, right? So minutes. And over here, 15 minutes for Ethereum. Now, interoperability, yes. So right now, Cardano is a bit stuck in the middle because it's average, okay? It doesn't really have very good interoperability, but they're working on ways to fix this. So again, these things take time. EVM, yes, no, yes. Again, they're working on this. But connections, right? Because I'm not going to stand here and say to you, hey, NEAR protocol is the be all and end all. Look how much it's destroying. We've all seen projects' websites. We've all seen them list certain criteria they tick off to make themselves look better than other projects, and they don't list other things, right? I'm not going to do that. So connections play a big part because, again, it's not what you know, it's who you know, okay? And that's every part of life, okay? So yes, NEAR protocol right now is average. These two blow them out of the water. Everyone knows Ethereum. That's why it's so prominent in the space, and that's why it will be for a very long time, okay? Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it's going to be the Ethereum killer tomorrow. And also, Cardano has some massive partners. As we all know, Cardano is a behemoth, right? I love the project. So NEAR protocol, in my eyes, is a longer term vision, and they've recently pivoted to something called the blockchain operating system. This is the part of the unlock here and why I'm really bullish on the future for this guy, right? But let's talk about what this actually unlocks, okay? So NEAR has a serious chance because, as I said to you before, Ethereum has moved away from sharded chains. This was a reason why I was going to be very bullish on Ethereum, and why in multiple videos now I've gone ahead and say, hey, no one's going to outcompete Ethereum, at least for a very long time. They've now removed this, right? Now, that's not to say they're not going to do sharding in general. They are doing a new type of sharding called proto-dank sharding. Never heard of it before this, right? But essentially, it is a type of sharding, but not sharding the chain per se. Essentially, they're relying on layer 2 solutions more now. So that's kind of where the money's going to be made for Ethereum. Ethereum is still kind of what it always has been, right? A settlement layer for a lot of different things, okay? So now, the interesting thing, right, with NEAR protocol, again, they've just rebranded to a blockchain operating system, and I'll touch more on this momentarily. But they have a shard, a permanent shard on the network, just like what Ethereum was supposed to do, and it's called Aurora. And now this is a full-time EVM-compatible shard that has a whole heap of its own dApps, and essentially, in my eyes, it could pretty much be like another type of layer 2 solution for Ethereum. Again, my vision of it, okay? Because it's a lot faster than Ethereum, and obviously it benefits from the speed and everything like that from NEAR protocol. Okay, and in saying that, NEAR also could essentially, technically speaking, because they're moving to a blockchain operating system, can act almost like that intermediary or essentially a layer 2 solution to Ethereum. So this is where we can kind of look at this and go, okay, we can see a bit of the market share opening up here, but that's not the full story. The full story comes now, right? So again, they migrated from NEAR protocol, which they're still called, by the way, but they're kind of whole MO, the whole vision now is a blockchain operating system. For the longest time, as we should all know, Near Protocol hasn't really had a direct vision, okay? We've kind of understood they wanted to do a few things like onboard 1 billion users to Web3. Again, this is a very, very big undertaking, and it's always been a super general purpose blockchain. But on March 23rd of this year, they announced this, and so this gives them some direction now. An operating system by means pretty much ensures that things work correctly, right? So it's essentially like if your computer, for example, okay, a computer, if it didn't have an operating system, well, we couldn't use it, right? Because things need to somehow work together, have a central place that connects everything, open up an application, it does certain things. And so this is essentially what Near is now, okay? It's a blockchain operating system, meaning it's kind of like the operating system, or essentially a layer that goes above everything else and connects all the different blockchain networks, allows anyone from Web 2 to come into Web 3 and be able to easily access the ecosystem, okay? So in my opinion, it's a very good rebrand, okay? And it's come at a very good time because of Ethereum's recent change and their whole MO here. It's going to open the doors up, I believe. And it is the first blockchain operating system in the space, okay? But what does the boss really mean? Well, it means mass adoption, a very much so romanticized phrase in the industry, but Near is actually working on bringing this to life, okay? Now, you can think of the blockchain operating system as a way that grandparents or Web 2 developers that have no Web 3 experience at all can interact and join Web 3. I think, again, most of us can all remember a time when we first got into crypto, and it was a massive mind. I can't swear here, but you know what I'm going to say next. And essentially, like, you can imagine, put yourself back in those shoes, how difficult it will be for someone who wants to access DeFi, or someone who wants to maybe play some GameFi games or interact some way in the new emerging industry, okay? And it's going to get more important in the future. So Near's pretty much saying, hey, you come through us, we're going to make things nice and easy for you, have a nice, simple interface you can do anything from, specifically for developers too, all right? Because some of the benefits actually really complement them. Specifically, they can create on-chain front-end web pages that connect to any network for simplicity and further decentralization of dApps. Obviously, as a decentralized application, typically, you have your DeFi application, right? Or your code on Ethereum, for example, but you still have to make a nice, pretty front-end web page with all the bells and whistles to essentially make it functional, okay? And that is typically stored very Web 2y. So this is now going to be put on chain. It's really cool. Now, there's still obviously going to be some form of centralization or Web 2 aspects in it because everything's, passing through the internet, but still, this is further decentralizing the whole process, right? Build dApps with instant multi-chain compatibility. Now, this is a big bonus, but it's not like the wow factor. Essentially, obviously, Web 2 developers can come in here and say, I want to create a dApp. Cool, you can. And also, you can actually link that up to any particular network you like. So you might build it, construct it on Near Protocol, but you might want to host that actual dApp on Solana, for example, which is awesome, right? And fork a host of components to build dApps faster and cheaper. So you can imagine having like a toolkit of a whole bunch of like things that you might want to add on. Okay, I want to have an AMM on there, right? Automated Market Maker. Well, you press that button and all that code is forked and automatically compiled over to your development. So it's going to save time, hassle, and it's just going to be a nice, simple interface, right? It's going to be seamless. So that's the whole point here, is to make everything nice and simple. And have a look at the little diagram over here. We have Web2 Joe, developer or user, whatever alike, coming into Near, the blockchain operating system where you have widgets, social applications, and all different types of components connecting to anything. NFT markets, DeFi services, gaming, dApps, anything. Any network, any other components within any network, it's all going to be in one place very, very easily, okay? Plus, I want to say for you guys, now I have a full video breaking down all the aspects of Near Protocol, not just talking about this today in a full video. I'll leave it the link at the end of this one, but this is one of the things I mentioned in there. They have a huge upgrade coming in around the end/start of 24 to 25, and this is going to be important because this is their main component. Without this, they're not Near Protocol. Without this, they don't have a USP. Without this, they can't make the blockchain operating system happen. It's called 𝗏𝗡𝗅𝗏𝗡. Pretty cool name, right? So it'll mean that it's forever scalable, right? 𝗏𝗡𝗅𝗏𝗡 is a unique sharding approach that allows a network to be infinitely scalable with demand. Very important, right? It's the backbone of Near Protocol, as I said to you before, and what separates it from its competitors. It allows it to have 2-second intra and cross-shard finality, which is a good distinction to make, and that's actually really, really good. So when we're talking about sharding, we have different, essentially, blockchains operating under the one blockchain, okay? And when there's more demand, you can split up these extra chains and create new ones, so you can have all the extra demand come in and be able to process it because it's all fractionalized, okay? It can be done quicker. As we know with the world, division of labor works, okay? But essentially, when we're communicating between these different shards, because they're pretty much independent networks in their own right, communicating back to the one point, aka NEAR, well, these typically take a very long time, right? We look at L1, for example, intra-shard, which means inside each chain, they're typically a lot faster, right? So the 2 seconds for NEAR. But the cross-shard ones take a long time. They have to typically go back to the main chain and then be pushed onto this chain and then be verified. Long time. But NEAR, 2 seconds either way, because of the way they shard the network, okay? It's too much to go into in this video. I do have a breakdown of that process on a different video, okay? Now, rollout, we're in phase 3 right now, which should be completed again towards the end of 2024, which is in the middle of a bull market. So if you guys understand how projects work with news, typically, I mean, I guess NEAR's going to pump months, or if not a month, before this news actually comes out, because it's always typically, you have to buy before the news and sell on the news, right? And so this is a good time now to see this going to happen, because again, I believe NEAR is going to really shoot up in price, and especially in its dominance at that point, which will obviously be, you know, even more multiples for us, right? And obviously demand. So as I said, a huge demand coming that time. So before I finish off, guys, and leave you alone, I want to say NEAR's recently launched one of their flagship, well, their now flagship program, okay, called NEAR Horizon. This is important, right? This is unlike other networks have a similar sort of process, which is just pretty much complementing the whole blockchain operating system program, okay? So let's read this, right? So NEAR Horizon is an early stage accelerator revolutionizing how founders and builders find support in Web3. Build and scale great projects alongside thriving community while tapping into robust backer network and diverse supporting resources. So currently there's about 750 projects over here, 1.1 million active accounts on NEAR. You guys can get the drill, right? 26 million total accounts. And remember, this is all without their actual main protocol upgrade being complete, right? So it's massive. This is kind of what the interface looks like from a brief level. You can see, obviously, you can become different things, a contributor, a backer, or you can actually simply start your own Web3 based company or application by just clicking that button, and you have access to all of those features. Obviously, this is very new, so as this grows and expands, we're going to see more results. But as I said before, you know, comparing NEAR with Cardano and ETH, you know, it does have a long way to go in terms of actually building the connections that are going to last a long time that ultimately will help bolster it up into where it's going to be. Now, I do think this is going to be a more long-term play. So for those who are kind of wondering on the time horizons here, I think 2025, aka the next bull market, we will see a lot of progression in NEAR protocol, especially in terms of price action. But I do think in terms of this becoming a reality, definitely 2030, 2035, again, more longer term vision here. A lot of the projects I look for are that longer term vision. You guys should hopefully know my investment thesis by now. Okay, now with that being said, I highly suggest you watch this video on NEAR protocol. It's going to explain a hell of a lot more about metrics and the project in general. And over here, watch me put NEAR protocol into a portfolio, which I give buy levels at as well. Okay, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I appreciate every single one of you, and I can't wait to talk to you all soon. Take care.